So we're doing another blog, and the topic of our conversation today is called Dethronement and Resignation. What's the difference? So let's talk about a dethronement. A dethronement happens when a national queen or a princess or a runner-up does not abide by the rules of the contract. So, and it could lead to many things. So, number one, if she did not follow any of the sections in the contract. So, if that girl posts nude, if she had any very provocative videos or seductive photos, which which is very demeaning to the organization that she's representing, or if she lied about things before she competed. So if the girl says she's Canadian or she's a permanent resident and then they found out that she's actually not, because that girl needs to compete internationally and represent Canada, she gets dethroned. Because how could she represent Canada not having citizenship or being legal resident of Canada? That's very important. She can also get dethroned if she disrespected the pageant organization, which means the directors, staff, or fellow queens, and also as well runner-ups. So the roster itself. She could also get dethroned if she's a teen queen or even a queen, a Miss MISS. She can also get dethroned based on the behavior of her parents or her family. So if the parents were giving the pageant organization a hard time, and there's a lot of that, especially when we deal with a lot of stage moms or pageant moms, and they feel that their daughter is not getting a lot of the perks, or they're not getting a lot of attention by the pageant organization, they started having this stage attitude. So that's another reason why a title holder can get dethroned. A title holder can get also dethroned if she gets pregnant. So, because it's in the contract. If you are a Miss MISS title holder or a teen title holder, you cannot get pregnant because you have to fulfill the responsibility of competing internationally. And how could you compete when you're pregnant? And I know it sounds really bad, but it is the reality, people. International pageants will never crown a girl who is pregnant, especially if they are due soon. Because if anything happens while they are competing and they are pregnant and they get a miscarriage, that's another responsibility that pageant organizations don't want to have to deal with. So just think about that. And the last but not the least, why a girl gets dethroned is it happens also with the teens. When their marks in school are failing. And usually with pageant organizations, when you are not doing well in school, you're given a warning, and usually they give you time to really take care of your studies. But not a lot of pageants can do that, because especially if they have a really demanding title that the girl needs to travel, and if the girl needs to really take care of her schooling, then the pageant has no choice but to replace the girl. Because it's not fair for the girl for the queen to be of a break, and then a runner-up or a princess will take the responsibility representing the title when she doesn't even have that title. So it feels like, oh, I'm just a filler. And I feel really bad when girls have to do that. So I hope that explains why a girl gets dethroned. So resignation. A lot of people resign as a queen because of different things. So usually they resign because, number one, they don't want to get dethroned. Main factor. They couldn't handle the responsibilities of a queen, and they think they're going one step further or being wiser to actually resign than get dethroned. But again, whether you resign or whether you get dethroned, it's the same thing. You lost your title, so you don't get the perks of being an actual title holder and getting the prizes that were promised. Okay, so just a reminder on that. Keep it clear that when you get dethroned or when you resign your position as a queen, you are not entitled to the perks of being a title holder, and that includes the prizes. Okay, so that's the first reason. But a lot of people also as well think that when they resign, there's process of resignation, and I will explain that after I explain of different types of resignations, why a queen resigns. So number one is because they did not fulfill the contract, and instead of being dethroned, they'll resign. But I will explain that again, because I don't want to lose that train of thought, right? So number two is if the girl couldn't stay longer being single, and it happens a lot, and they think that their personal relationship with their boyfriend or with their fiance is most important, and they want to get married right away, they have to give up the title, so they resign. Number three is life and death situation. And this doesn't happen a lot, but if it happens, we did experience it before, where the mother had been diagnosed with cancer, and because she's the eldest one in the family, she needs to fulfill her responsibilities with her mom, and we completely understand that. And you're not going to be able to fulfill your responsibilities with your pageant because you have to take the responsibility of being a child of your parents. And I to that respect that, because it's in the law, it's in the Bible. It says there that first and foremost, you have to honor your parents, and you have to give them your dues and your responsibility as their child. So with that, it's saying the girl must resign because they have to pick their family. That's most important. So, or if the girl is actually in a very serious health condition. And it also happens when a girl is got into an accident and she's in a coma, or she's not able to fulfill physically the responsibilities of the contract as a queen. Then she has to resign, or her family, if she's not capable, if she's in a coma, her family has to make the decision of resigning. With that saying as well, if the queen gets into that situation, the pageant organization also has a right to demand a resignation to a queen. Okay? And last but not the least, the girls resigned because they just did not follow through with their contract. Like, not completed only, but they were not there when appearances are made. They just didn't respect it. So usually, if they're lazy and they don't really want to do a lot of what it takes to do the contract, they resign. And this happens usually when a queen gets crowned. She's presented a contract, and all of a sudden she decides, I cannot sign the contract because it's just too much of responsibility, and I'm not going to be able to fulfill it. So with that saying as well, that's respectable. But nowadays, a lot of the people, a lot of the pageants, they explain the main things in the contract, and they actually ask girls before the actual competition happen, like the prelims, and that includes personal interviews. Is there anyone here who feels that they cannot fulfill the obligations of a queen? Please let us know that if you don't want to win. So at MCGP, we do that, and other pageants do that as well. Because again, why take that moment of a girl being crowned on stage if you know yourself you're not going to be able to fulfill your contract? So, and nowadays, a lot of people in a lot of pageants actually put that in the contract, stating that if you are crowned on stage and before the competition, you're given an option, if you don't want to win and you didn't say anything and you were crowned on stage, and then you decide to resign because of the point that a lot of girls do this. It's like, oh yeah, because I want to prove to people that I can win the title or I can win the pageant. That is so not fair to the girl who is taking that title because you took their moment. And honestly, guys, that is just really sad. A lot of girls do that, and that's being very selfish, because the crowning moment explains a lot of a girl when she gets to become a queen. And but I always say to the girls who's taking over the title, yes, she might have been crowned on stage, but you were the one that's left with the crown, and you are the one that's completing the responsibility of that crown, of that contract. So you are the holder of that contract, not the girl who was crowned on stage and decided to let go of that crown. So that's very important. So now let's talk about the actual resigning. You know, because a lot of people, what they do is when they don't want to be a queen anymore and they feel so lazy completing their contract, or they're stating, oh, they got anxiety or mental issues and they cannot fulfill the responsibilities of the contract, and then they just actually go and return the contract in the office. That's not what a proper resignation is. What a proper resignation is when you actually notify first the office that you would like to come in because you want to resign. That's the proper way of doing resignation. Not just deciding to show up in the office and say, I'm resigning. Okay? If you're a teen and you decide to resign, it has to go through your parent who signed the contract. It's not, because there's a lot of teen queens there that when they resign, it's usually the father. But the father was never there when they actually signed the contract, or the mother was never there when they signed the contract. And the person who signed the contract was actually, if it was the father who's making the decision, but the mother signed the contract, it's supposed to be the mother who needs to deal with the resignation. Now, let's say if the mom doesn't want to deal with that, then the mother must provide a legal letter stating that she's giving her rights to her husband to deal with the matter. Then that's valid. Okay? Second, it goes both ways. So if the father signed the contract and the mother was there, and then the mother wants to deal with the issue, she cannot deal with the issue until the father gives a legal letter, that she is actually providing, he's actually giving the rights to the mother to deal with the situation legally. And that, by saying itself, you have to actually go through a paralegal and get that done. Okay? So that can only be dealt with. And when you're an adult and you sign the contract, no matter how you want your mom or your dad to deal with the issue, it cannot be. It has to be you being the person of legal age to sign the contract and deal with that, because you've signed it. Okay? So with that saying, those are the process of the resignation. So if you just finally showed up and you actually give the crown, it still doesn't go through like that automatically, because they still have to go through the lawyer, and the lawyer will review the resignation based on the contract that you signed. And then from there, if the lawyer sees that you're resigning because you don't want to fulfill your obligation, or because you don't want to get dethroned, you will be dethroned. Yes, because in the contract, that's when you go through that and you actually resign because you don't want to continue on, because you don't want to fulfill the obligations of the contract, that's actually a dethronement issue. And so again, it's with a lawyer. It's with a lawyer of the pageant that makes that call. So don't think that, okay, I've given the crown, I've given the letter, I'm resigned. No. The lawyer must be able to handle that, and then from that point on, it's not going to be the pageant that will be dealing with you. It's the pageant's lawyer that will be in contact with you and explain the contract. And if you resigned, then they will tell you, okay, we accept your resignation, or we don't accept your resignation because we are dethroning you. So with that saying, let's talk about that, because a lot of people, let's talk about the situation what happened to Vanessa Williams. Although Vanessa Williams was reinstated in 2014, but what happened was she won Miss America in 1984. And in 1984, when she won, going towards the end of her reign, 3 months or 2 months prior, there was a big issue that came out where she actually had a picture naked that was on Playboy magazine, and it came out. It became a scandal. So the Miss America organization requested for Miss Williams, or Miss Vanessa Williams, to return her crown and sash 48 hours upon the press conference that the Miss America did, and resign. If you were ever given that situation, take it as a blessing, people, because when you are given that chance, that means the pageant respects you so much. They don't want to be in a situation to hurt you and dethrone you, but they're giving you the moment of saying, you know what? It is what it is. It already happened. So now you have to deal with the consequences, but we don't want you to be known as a dethroned title holder. So we're asking you to voluntarily resign your post so that it will not affect your future career, right? Because it can be, especially, I don't know if other pageants will accept you for doing that. MCGP, usually they do if the girl had a past of doing nude photos, nude modeling, pornography. But once they sign the contract, they must not be in those kind of situation activities, because that's when you get dethroned. Okay, so hopefully everyone understands that. Thank you. Hi, so we're talking about the consequences of being a dethroned title holder. So the consequences of being a dethroned title holder or resigned title holder is that when you apply to another pageant, and mostly if that pageant has a good relationship with another pageant and you applied in that system, they will do a reference. They will reference that queen, that dethroned queen or resigned queen, and say, how was she as your queen? Why did she get dethroned, or why did she resign? So again, a lot of people, when we're saying, oh, you know, when they badmouth a pageant organization, there's always two sides to a story. And with that saying, a lot of pageants who actually respect that other pageant that that is there, and then a dethroned queen from that pageant system applies to their pageant, they will 100% ask for a reference as a pageant title holder. And if the pageant, if you didn't really hurt the pageant that you resigned in or you get dethroned, they will say, you know, there's a reason why she was dethroned, or why she got resigned, why did she resign. But some pageants will not take the risk of taking that girl. So that's what you call blacklisted. When you get blacklisted by other pageants because you get dethroned, or because you resigned in a wrong terms or bad way. And also, you can no longer use and say to people, oh, I won that title, because it will go back and say, yeah, you won, but you get dethroned or you resigned. So, or, you know, the girl that was the dethroned queen. In job, also as well, they find out, it's like, why didn't she want to fulfill her responsibilities? Do we want someone, do we want an employee that will actually represent us, and then at the end will not fulfill her responsibilities or broke the rules? So there's always a consequence of being a dethroned or a resigned title holder. So what's the solution so that you don't get dethroned, or what's the solution so you don't get dethroned, or you don't resign? Number one, have the contract, review it. Because if you review the contract, then you know what not to break. Then you know that you have to fulfill the obligation. Number 2, have a good relationship with the pageant organization that you're working with. Because if you are working with the pageant organization closely, then the pageant, if you're having a problem fulfilling your contract, will be nice to even aid you and help you so that to make sure that you can fulfill your contract and get that contract fulfilled and completed so you can get the perks of being the queen. Okay? And number 3, the third solution is praying. Always pray that God will guide you. I'm not trying to convert people here in becoming a Christian, because we all came through a creator, a higher person. Always pray or meditate. Think, breathe, and don't act impulsive. Like, impulsive decisions can lead you to different things. So prayer is the most powerful thing. And just say to all the Christian people out there, Lord Heavenly Father, I lift this up to you. I am just a human being and I'm having a hard time fulfilling my obligations. Please give me the strength and please give me the will and knowledge to do the best that I can so I'm able to fulfill this. Now, if you are Buddhist or you're Muslim, it's the same thing. Pray. Because prayer can make things possible. So, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video so that you can get updates to our next video topics that we'll be putting in. Have yourself a wonderful day, everyone.